All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going on a high-stakes global tour, jumping between multiple flashpoints that are all heating up at once, from military standoffs to high-tech rivalries. We're going to see how our world is being managed, really, moment by moment, through some incredibly intense, personality-driven deal-making. So let's dive right in.
So let's get our bearings. We're talking February 2026. This isn't some history lesson. These are live, active crises all overlapping, creating this kind of global chessboard where every single move right now is absolutely critical. Okay, so first up, we're heading to the Persian Gulf. This is a region where, you can almost hear the drumbeat of war getting louder. But, and this is the key part, behind the scenes, a totally different conversation is taking place. Now this slide, it really lays out this crazy double game that's being played. On one hand, in public, it's all about maximum pressure, right? You've got Israel on high alert, the US moving a whole carrier group into the area, and Iran is out there test-firing missiles in the Strait of Hormuz. But then, you flip the coin. At the exact same time, US and Iranian envoys are quietly meeting in Geneva for nuclear talks, with Oman acting as the go-between. It's a classic high-wire act, all-out aggression on the surface with desperate deal-making happening in the shadows.
And this number, 20%, this tells you exactly why this matters so much to everyone. A full 20% of the entire world's oil supply sails right through that narrow strait. So any miscalculation, any one of those backroom deals going sour, it could tank the global economy. Instantly. The point is, this is not just some regional squabble. Okay, let's hop over to the Pacific, because here we've got a war of words that is dangerously close to becoming something much, much worse. And it's pulling in the major world powers and putting a key American ally in a really, really tough spot. Just look at how fast this thing blew up. It all kicks off November 7th with just one comment from Japan's new prime minister. A day later, boom, a Chinese diplomat hits back with a threat. A week after that, China issues a travel advisory, hitting Japan's economy. And by the end of the month, the US president is working the phones, trying to put out the fire. It just shows how one little spark can set off a massive diplomatic inferno.
And then you get this quote. This is reportedly what President Trump told Japan's Prime Minister Takaichi. Wow. It's just a stunningly blunt summary of a huge potential shift in US foreign policy. Think about it. For Japan, who's been one of America's closest allies for decades, this is a massive warning sign that the old playbook, it might be getting thrown out the window in favor of a new great power deal.
And Beijing's response? Oh, it wasn't just tough talk. They launched what was basically a full-spectrum pressure campaign. It was economic, it was cultural, everything from seafood and movies to critical tech components and rare earth minerals. This wasn't just punishment. This was China showing its muscle, showing it can turn the economic screws with surgical precision. And just to make the whole picture even more complicated, you've got what's happening in the Philippines. Right now, the government under President Marcos Jr. is very pro-US, but the vice president, Sara Duterte, is running for the top job in 2028, and she's already signaling she might tilt the country back towards China. It's a perfect reminder that in this new world of deal-making, nothing is set in stone. One election can flip the entire board.
All right, from there, we're jumping to Europe, where the deal-making is a different flavor. It's not about stopping a war from starting, but about trying to figure out how to end one. And the push for peace in Ukraine is this grinding, difficult process defined by two worldviews that just seem completely at odds.
This quote from President Zelensky just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the fine line his country is trying to walk. There's this deep, desperate need for the fighting to stop, but there's an absolute refusal. They are not going to sacrifice their country or their dignity to get it. For them, any deal has to be a deal of honor. And then, on the complete other side of the spectrum, you have this from President Putin. This signals this deep belief that Russia can get what it wants on the battlefield, no matter what happens at a negotiating table. And that makes any real compromise so difficult, because one side thinks, hey, we can just win this on the battlefield anyway. So, after all the back and forth, all the diplomacy, it really comes down to this one simple, massive roadblock. Russia demands Ukraine give up territory, and Ukraine says absolutely not. That is the knot that no one has been able to untie, and it's why this whole peace process feels like it's constantly on a knife's edge.
So, while all this drama with missiles and borders is grabbing the headlines, there's this other global competition heating up. And honestly, this one could define everything for the next 100 years. We're talking about artificial intelligence.
At this big AI summit in India, you basically got the world's biggest brains on AI in one room. And man, they do not all agree. You've got Dimas Hassabis from Google, who's like, AGI is coming, folks, but we'd better work together to handle it. Then Dame Wendy Hall is focused on making sure AI is actually built for people and serves local communities. Yoshua Bengio, he's basically waving a big red flag, warning that this technology is getting ahead of our ability to control it. And finally, Jan LeCun is kind of saying, hold on, everyone, the tech we have now isn't as smart as we think it is. This isn't just some academic squabble. This is a negotiation over the rules that are going to govern our entire future.
Okay, so we've jumped from the Gulf to the Pacific to Europe. What's the common thread here? What's the big takeaway when you put it all together?
I think the most important thing to grasp is this. We're not living in a world where you can focus on and solve one crisis at a time anymore. Stability now depends on being able to juggle multiple, simultaneous crises. It's a world that's being managed, or maybe just held together, by nonstop, high-stakes deal-making happening all at once, everywhere.
And that really leaves us with the big hanging question, doesn't it? Is all this constant, frantic deal-making, is it a real path to a stable peace? Or are we just kicking the can down the road, endlessly putting off a much bigger, inevitable conflict? That's something to think about. Thanks for joining this explainer.